Racionalismo. Capítulo 12. A gente tá do lado de fora. The Graveyard. Ué? Eu pulei uma memória, como assim? Pera, acabou então? Daqui é o final? Eu perdi uma nota e uma memória, como assim? Como é que eu perco uma parte da história? Nada no carro. Tinha alguma coisa lá dentro que eu não vi, meu Deus. Deixa eu ver. Ah, não tem nada. Bom, saí. Onde é que a gente tá, hein? Ali é o manicômio. Caraca, mano. A gente foi longe, hein? Muito longe. Vegetable Garden, jardim de vegetais. Que faz parte das conquistas. Nossa, a planta crescendo na minha cara. Bom, talvez a gente possa voltar. Deixa eu vir pra cá, então a gente volta pro caminho pro manicômio. Vai demorar um século pra eu chegar lá.
The cemetery is outside the lunatic asylum, far away. Let's follow the road signs and they'll guide us.
Mentira, o jogo tá falando que ele tem que ir lá pro cemitério, mas o que a gente tem que fazer no cemitério? Que eu olhei lá e não deu nada. Sem contar que eu perdi uma memória. Tipo, como é que eu perdi uma memória? Caramba. Eu acho que seria mais fácil eu sair do jogo e abrir de novo. Carregando. As placas nos guiarão. Lá vai a gente descer tudo de novo. Olha, é o cemitério. Ué, a gente passou pela torre, eu não vi a torre. Ah, a gente pegou um caminho alternativo. The Little Lake. O que é aquilo ali naquele canto? Ah, uns canos. Ah, tem muita coisa pra gente explorar por aqui, hein? Tá, mas o que a gente precisa fazer no cemitério? O cemitério fica fora do manicômio, longe. Vamos seguir as placas pelo caminho, elas nos guiarão. Que pra falar a verdade a gente já tava aqui já antes, né? Por algum motivo não aconteceu nada. Ó, não dá nem pra pedir a dica mais, porque a gente já tá no lugar. Vai ter que olhar as lápides. Ah, mentira, que a gente vai ter que olhar um por um.
There are no names. We were worth nothing in death, as in life. If there was someone out there who cared for you, well, perhaps. I had Mom. Let's go and wait for her. She'll come and get us. She promised. Let's wait for Mom in the waiting room.
Nossa, agora a gente tem que subir tudo. Não acredito. Eu tava aqui já e eu não fiz o objetivo, mano. Lá vai a gente subir tudo de novo.
Mom will come. She'll come.
Que o jogo já não me avançou o objetivo, sendo que a gente já tava no cemitério. Só tinha que interagir com esse negócio.
She promised and she'll come to get us. She'll take us home. Now I understand. I won't misbehave anymore. I won't misbehave again, Mom. Please don't leave me here. I won't cause any trouble. I'll be quiet in my corner. How I miss that dark corner where I used to spend whole days.
Pera.
I'll stay
Okay.
here like a good little girl, but take me away from this place.
Tem um playground
I
aqui.
must always concentrate on nothingness.
Eu já vim olhar aqui já, né? Aqui é o começo.
Otherwise, I get confused and I'm afraid I won't be able
Deixa eu ver se
to
apareceu
find
alguma
you.
coisa aqui. Não dá nem pra... Dá. Tá, nenhuma nota. Eu quero a última nota, jogo. E a última memória também. Como que eu vou finalizar faltando uma memória?
Any thoughts upset me so violently, and I can't handle them. I'm afraid of myself, of what I might do when I get confused and don't remember anything. There are some wounds I'm not aware of. And that's the pain that causes me the most anguish.
Ali na frente tinha umas escadas, né? Que eu não cheguei a olhar. Será que a gente consegue descer? Eu acho que sim. Vamos ver. Aqui é do outro lado da cerca, né? Eita! Onde é que eu tô? Le nombre não tá traduzido. Eu não sei como é que eu não entendo o francês. The Cellar. Ok, achamos mais um lugar aí escondido. Ah, que loucura, mano. Ali é tipo uma prisãozinha. Sala de espera aqui,
What
né?
if she's been already, and she's already left? Let's check in reception.
Recepção. Luz acendeu sozinha. Uma nota. N. Geraldi Prog. Darará. Hospital Psiquiátrico, Arquivo Administrativo de Amara. Admitida no dia 15 de junho de 1937. Dispensada em, transferida em, morreu em 8 de novembro de 42. Essa daqui eu já tinha visto. Irene. Muita coisa, muita coisa. A recepção é ali atrás, né? Recepção 1. O que eu preciso achar aqui pra gente avançar?
Miss, please send the following telegram to Ada T. Discharge of Renee T. Impossible. Psychiatric evaluation negative. This is a life sentence. I can't spend my whole life in here. I can't. It's a death sentence.
O que você vai fazer com essa tesoura, moça? Vai cortar os cabelos, né? Não, não, os cabelos, moça. Meu Deus. É sério que ela... Tudo isso pra isso. Certeza que deve ter outro final, talvez. Escola Elementar, capítulo 13. Ah, faz parte da história. Nossa, corredor infinito. Mano, tá dando uma tontura absurda. Ah, meu Deus, tem os barulhos atrás. Ou parece que é atrás, sei lá. Que isso? Mano, que bizarro. Olha os desenhos. Oh, mudou completamente o lugar. Começa a ser perturbado da cabeça, eu também. Uai, aqui desce. Ah, meu Deus. Esse barulho. Ficando com medo, mano. Nossa, esse corredor, que bizarro.
I do a lot of bad things. I don't tell anyone, but Mom knows just the same.
Ah, tem que olhar todos os desenhos.
So many things at school, and so we have to attend. How would we get on if we didn't?
Não tenho ideia de qual linguagem que é. Francês, talvez? O jogo é francês, né? Então talvez seja.
Don Gino knows everything. He speaks to God and he tells him lots of things.
3/17. Ah não, mano, para com esse barulho.
Renee's kind to Don Gino, but he always frightens me.
Tá, esse corredor aqui a gente já olhou tudo. Parece que tá cada vez mais escuro. Eu espero que não. Por favor, não tenha perseguição.
Mr. Onofrio is very kind and helps us. If he's not here, I have good reason to be afraid.
Eu tô descendo, mano, sendo que eu nem olhei as coisas pra cima ainda. Deixa eu ver se eu vim aqui. Meu Deus, esse barulho, que droga. Aqui desce.
A blackbird's eating my head. That's why it hurts so much.
Então, onde que a gente tá indo? Eu já tô perdido já. Aqui é o começo, né? Eu acho. Não é não.
There are a lot of them. They want to hurt me. They fly. Even Charlotte can't help me.
Um corredor sem caminho.
Mom works so hard because I have to eat, or I won't grow.
E o medo de olhar pra trás. Assim, de certa forma, eu até agradeço que não tenha caminho. Faltam 7 ainda.
Mr. Onofrio is so nice. I'm bad because I'm not kind.
6, 5.
I never used to sleep. Poor Mom.
4.
My baby Charlotte is so beautiful, and she's so good. But Renee isn't.
Deixa eu ver onde que isso aqui vai dar. Eu sei que tem uns lá pra cima, mano. Sei lá, eu tô muito perdido já. Eu desci tanto e subi já também outros andares que eu já nem sei mais. Daqui foi onde a gente começou. Primeira vez que a gente subiu, primeira rampa. 14 e 17. Que foi literalmente, né? Deu... A gente saiu aqui da onde que era a parede, né? A gente subiu aqui. Tá dando esse desenho. Aí eu olhei pra direita e pra esquerda. Aqui na direita a gente tem um caminho que desce ali. Tem um desenho aqui, verdade.
A cat goes into my mouth and eats me from inside. At least you can't see what's happening.
Aqui eu já olhei tudo, né? Ó, acho que agora só falta lá pra baixo. Aqui eu não olhei. Para com esse barulho, jogo. Que droga. É, aquele lá acabei de olhar. Ok, aqui deu exatamente no mesmo lugar. Bom saber, bom saber. Muito escuro. Uai. Eu não enxergo nada. Eu não sei mais. Ixi. Acho que eu não devia ter entrado aqui. Parou a música.
What's happened? What is this place? Maybe
É o começo.
I'm dead.
Mentira.
I can't see any light. Maybe I am dead. I can't get up. What's going on? What's happening to me? There's no one here, but these noises. God, my head is killing me. I can't keep my eyes open.
Faltava 2, mano. Eu acho que eu fui pro lado errado e... Não sei, daqui é o começo do jogo. Exatamente quando eu abri o jogo, quando dá um novo jogo, aparece essa cena. Só falta ter voltado pro começo. Talvez tivesse algum tempo, né? Sei lá, demorei muito pra encontrar. Ou realmente não era pra eu ter ido naquele lugar lá. Tá diferente. Meu Deus, que freira medonha. O que tá acontecendo, mano? Como assim? Aparentemente aqui é o manicômio antes dele tá todo abandonado, né? Daquele elevador central. Eu acho. Não, tá muito diferente esse aqui. Não é o mesmo manicômio, não. Nossa, que tontura. Novo capítulo 14. Fazia parte da história isso, não acredito nisso. Eu tô sendo tapeado toda hora, achando que vai acabar e não acaba.
May 4th, 1942. The patient had previously expressed suicidal feelings, but never acted on them. Yesterday, she injured herself badly, stabbing herself in the stomach with sharp-pointed scissors. Sedated, restrained, and transferred to an isolation cell. May 10th. Transferred to the agitated ward for observation. Isolation, insulin, and shock therapy. September 25th. Positive response to treatment. She replies to questions and remembers what happened, but doesn't want to give explanations. She claims to have memory lapses. Entire days about which she remembers nothing. She appears to be anxious and seeks reassurance. She fears she has done monstrous things in the blank periods for which she has no memory.
Onde é que eu tô? Será que eu tô em Alagoinha? Mas realmente eu não tenho ideia de onde é que eu tô. Mano, tá tudo destruído. A gente consegue andar por aqui. Tá, não, pra cá não tem nada. É pra aquele lado mesmo, eu tava indo pro lado certo. Não é pra cá. Acho que não é pra cá também. Tá, mais um caderninho.
November 11th, 1942. The patient speaks very little, refuses food, force-fed with a nasal cannula. February 2nd, 1943. The lack of kerosene for heating and the food shortage is claiming many victims in the institution. War spares nobody, not even these alienated creatures. Despite her young age, this patient has fallen ill owing to the cold and malnutrition.
Tá, essa ficha é de quem? Será dessa personagem que eu tô? Pra cá também não dá pra ir. Dá sim. Já foi?
Nobody laughs in here. I mean, really laughs. Not those crazy fools who laugh because people say they're mad. I don't know why they laugh out loud. They say I'm mad too, but I never feel like laughing. People used to laugh at me, but they were right, you know? You can't always cry and people laugh when they're afraid, don't they? It happened to you, not to me. It's better that way. They do that to show they're lucky. You mustn't take offense because it's true. And deep down, it's just like pity, if you see what I mean. But then you think about your own situation, and you laugh because you feel lucky that everything's gonna get better, that it's all shit. It's all shit, this place. You're not trying to tell me it's not true, are you? An intelligent person, educated, not like me. And if I can see it's a load of shit, just imagine how much better you understand it. No, come on. No. I feel fine here, you know? After all, I can do and say anything I want.
Olha, acabou? Ainda tem um monte de fita aí. Nossa, tem um telefone tocando mesmo. Eu achei que eu tinha ouvido um telefone. De fato, tem um telefone. Calma aí, telefone, já atendo. Não. Não, telefone. Alô? Parou de tocar. Demorei muito pra atender. Trancado. Tá, o filmezinho acabou que eu acho que não aconteceu nada, né? E agora? A porta ali na frente tá trancada. O telefone parou de tocar. Janela. Não pode ser janela, é?
August 28th, 1942. We hereby notify you of the death of Ada T., mother of Renee T., a patient in your institution. No known relative. Sincerely yours, Onofrio P.
Abriu.
I have no one left in the world. Nobody at all. Solitude is very strange. It muffles everything, slows it down. It's an endless scream that makes no sound. A silent scream. I can't stop looking at myself. I will never leave this place. There is nobody up there for me. These walls have become my skin, and the wretched desperation within them is my soul without a voice. Here, nobody weeps anymore. How I would love to feel life, desperation, anger. I've stopped dreaming, daydreaming, maybe even thinking. I've lived in a reality which has corroded me and has stripped me of everything, even my ability to feel pain.
Eu acho que a gente tem que vir por cima mesmo. Não. Não tem nada aqui. Elevador então. Não. Essas escadas. Não. Parou a música. Tem uma escada ali, eu não tinha visto. Mas a gente consegue subir? Acho que não consegue subir. Não. Ah, tem esse caminho aqui. Achou. Era isso. Como é que eu não tinha visto essa porta? Pô, tá um pouco diferente, não tá não? A gente tá no mesmo lugar ainda? O elevador. Ok, saímos. Carregando. Tem um buraco aqui. Não dá pra entrar. Onde que a gente veio parar, hein?
May 5th, 1943. Renee's state of health is good. She is eating and speaking. Her spatial and temporal orientation is good. Therapy suspended. December 3rd. She calmly asks if she can leave the hospital. Evaluate patient for 6 months. May 2nd, 1944. Discharge denied despite a favorable psychiatric opinion. The patient has no home or means of support.
Mano, tá cada vez mais estranho esse jogo.
May 4th. The reasons why discharge is impossible are explained, and this is how Renee learns of her mother's death 2 years after the fact.
Porque tá sem os olhos.
May 5th. She tried to kill herself in the night by hanging herself with a sheet, saved by the nurses. Restrained to her bed, she once more tried to kill herself by suffocation. The decision has been taken to perform a transorbital lobotomy.
Que isso, mano? É o tour dos horrores. Ah, não. The End. Acabou. A prática da lobotomia se difundiu muito rapidamente na Itália, muito antes em relação a outros países da Europa e dos Estados Unidos. A técnica original de A.E. Moniz foi aperfeiçoada e não teve tempo de ler. Se tratava de chegar aos lóbulos frontais do cérebro, perfurando o extrato ósseo da órbita ocular sobre a pálpebra, então danificá-los, injetando álcool ou formol ou usando um instrumento específico. Contrário a quanto quanto muitos pensavam, os pacientes nem sempre sofriam danos que causassem invalidez, embora isso acontecesse com frequência. Moniz ganhou o Prêmio Nobel de Medicina em 1949 e essa prática caiu em desuso de maneira progressiva após o descobrimento de sei lá o que em 41. Muito rápido, não dá nem tempo de ler. Devia ter um esquema lá, tipo, aperta o botão pra continuar. Ah não, mano, lobotomia não. Nossa, que agonia, mano. Os caras ficam aí toda hora anotando coisa e olhando pra você. Ai, meu Deus. Que horror. Mano, como é que as pessoas achavam que isso daí dava certo? Ah, não. Ai, martelinho. Mano! Que isso?
June 10th, 1944. Operation successful. Patient tranquil and collaborative. Motor coordination capacity reduced, but she's improving. Transferred to the Tranquil department in the care of Dr. B. 25th of October. Continues to talk about Amara and her doll, Charlotte. The disturbances of motor capacity show slight signs of improvement. Difficulty walking, not capable of riding, and the nurses report that they have to help her dress, wash, and feed herself. In the summer of 1944, Renee was transferred back into my department. Aware of little, indifferent, hardly ever spoke. One day, she said, "When I find the courage to look at myself in the mirror, I see a young face which is aged and looks at me full of fear." She is a woman now who has changed profoundly compared to the girl that I had under my care several years ago. Only the sadness of her gaze and her intelligence are unchanged. She's so young, just 23 years old, but is lacking all vitality. Perhaps her condition may improve, but probably not. Her life has been thrown away, and nobody did a thing to try to avoid this.
Que isso? Tem uns códigos ali. Gente. E acabou em lobotomia mesmo. bizarro, bizarro.
Soon I'll meet you, I'll become the one you love. We're growing, so we'll have claws while looking for ourselves. The time is endless, it could take forever. I will find you, I will find you, I will find you, our home, our heart. I will find you, I will
The
find
Town of Light.
I will find you, our home, our heart. I need a face to wear, a skin so soft to dress. Let me try.
Tá bem curioso o jogo, hein?
I'll do it gently.
Bem diferente de todos os jogos que eu joguei.
Fly away, our home will soon. Beware our heartbeats fight this life together.
Pra ficar deprimido? Acho que sim. Mostrar a tristeza desse manicômio. Os horrores que aconteciam nesse manicômio. Acabou a música, só tá mostrando o cenário com os créditos. Será que vai ter mais alguma coisa depois desses créditos? Deixa eu ver, apertar os botões aqui. Pulou. Bom, eu acho que é isso. Pera, tem alguma coisa nova ali na esquerda. O que é aquilo? É um vídeo, parece.
My name is Renee. I was a shy girl and I just wanted to be like the others. But that's not what happened.
So here you live above my mind. I wish you'd heard that my mind
Lugar
is trying to read
real.
yours and easy for a bird. Soon I'll meet you, I'll become the one you love.
Os caras recriaram muito igual, mano.
We're growing, so we'll have claws while looking for ourselves. The time is endless, it could take forever.
Ok. Nossa, que bugada que deu. Nossa. É tipo o trailer do jogo em live action, né? Nossa, ficou faltando muita coisa. Na verdade ficou faltando uma nota, né? Uma nota só. E... Caraca, que loading longo. É. Vai ficar faltando aparentemente então, né? Tá, talvez... Eu acho que eu vou ver se eu jogo de novo, mas não agora, né? Não em live. Vou jogar em off. E ver se eu encontro, então, a última memória que tava faltando. E também a... Como é que eu saio daqui? A última memória que tava faltando e também a última nota, né? A última página que falta. Bom, mas é isso, né? Então eu vou aproveitar aqui pra encerrar o vídeo por aqui já, né? Eu até troquei de roupa aqui, eu esqueci de gravar o encerramento, né? Desse vídeo, né? Dessa série. E é isso, né? Então a gente terminou aqui mais um jogo aqui pro canal. E obviamente que eu vou então mostrar então um pouco do diário, né? Que eu falei que eu ia mostrar no final. Que quando eu completasse tudo, né? Que eu ia mostrar todo ele de uma vez só. Eu vou mostrar após eu encerrar aqui então, primeiramente, né? Então vamos encerrar e aí eu já coloco o diário logo em sequência. Bom, mas é isso, né? Então é isso, no próximo vídeo a gente continua, né, obviamente, com algum outro jogo, né, e é isso. Então, pessoas, se vocês gostaram do vídeo, né, cliquem em gostei dos favoritos, compartilhem suas redes sociais para ajudar na divulgação do canal Etc e Tals, deixe um comentário abaixo também se der e se inscreva no canal também. Também não se esqueça de ativar o sininho para receber notificações de quando você vídeo novo aqui no canal e convido a todos a assistirem as lives, que estão de terças a quintas-feiras, das 2 às 6 horas da tarde, na twitch.tv/findseloy. Venham lá pelo menos dar um oi, né, enfim, então pessoas, até a próxima, falou!
My name is Renee. They told me that I have to write this diary, but I don't feel like it. It's not true that I feel better when I write. Actually, it's worse. I was a shy girl, and I just wanted to be like the others. But that's not what happened. No. I did things that, when I think about them now, eventually brought me here. Everything started with that damned light. It happened for the first time when I was still a little girl. I was 6 or 7. I was walking outside school when suddenly the noise started to melt into an indistinct rumble. The light increased out of all proportion and everything lost its meaning. I could no longer recognize anything. Objects, people, words, not even myself. I felt fear as a physical sensation. It prevented me from moving, from swallowing, from breathing. After God knows how long, everything went back to normal. But a new fear replaced the old one. Different but terrible. Of the light coming back. And it did come back. My memory of those years is hazy. Between the age of about 7 and 10, my memories are disconnected, and I couldn't say how many times and how frequently the light used to come. My mother gave me a doll around that time. Charlotte. Thinking back to it makes me want to laugh. But at the beginning, I remember that I was afraid of her. I thought she wanted to harm me, to kill me and take my place. But when the light came, she would stay beside me, and her presence did not disturb me. I was able to talk to her, and so she became my best friend. At least until I was in grade 2, when everything changed. She didn't laugh at me, and if I had to say something to my mother, I asked her to say it. When things inside me turned bad, she was the only one I could turn to. Now all of this makes me blush, but Charlotte was a real friend to me. I knew that she was just a doll. I wasn't stupid, but at the same time, she was real, too. I don't know how to explain it. It's difficult. My mother would cuddle her and tell her things. I guess she was trying to communicate with me, but back then I was too afraid to understand it. I didn't tell anyone about the light. I knew that something terrible was happening to me. I thought that I would die, and the shame I felt was so deep that an uncontrollable restlessness took over me. I was afraid when other people were nearby. I saw fingers pointed at me, mouths laughing, condemning me. I tried to be alone. I would sit down on the ground and, curled up in the dark, I would repeat a word, any word, in continuation. This helped me not to think, not to lose myself. I would spend entire days like this, hoping that my mother would ignore me. Her compassionate words hurt me and terrorized me even more, and so I had to. Shout and shout and shout those words. After a few days, things got better, and little by little I came out of my hiding place. But the fear was always there, under the surface, ready to strike me even harder. I remember a recurring dream from that time. I used to have plenty of nightmares, but this particular one was so real that even today, I ask myself whether it could have possibly been just a dream. I was in bed, enveloped by the warmth of the blanket, in the dark, about to succumb to sleep, when I heard the bedroom door open. I turned to face the wall and did not have the courage to turn around. I only saw a shadow cast against the wall by the light filtering in through the door. Then I heard the door close again, and I thought that it might have been my mother who, before going to bed, used to peep in to see whether I was sleeping. However, there was no time to breathe a sigh of relief, for footsteps approached the bed, and I heard the sound of breathing close by. Fear paralyzed me from head to toe. The blankets were pulled back. I remember the chill of fresh air on my spine. Someone sat on the bed, and I trembled. Then the dream finished. The light often came when I was at school, turning my fellow pupils into puppets that would terrorize me. To me, they appeared transformed, with the bloodied heads of animals stuck where their own heads should have been. I would curl up on the floor and would even wet myself. The teacher would try to console me and would smile at me, but her teeth and her eyes would terrify me even more. Things did change. I don't know why, perhaps during the 2nd or 3rd year of school. It was more or less in the same period that I became friends with Bruna. I remember the sensation of joy I experienced when I felt almost normal. The light isn't coming. The dreams have gone, and I have a real friend, one who speaks to me. I would repeat this to myself proudly while looking in the mirror, where I no longer saw an embarrassing reflection. It seemed to me that the world was a difficult place, but it was no longer impossible. Bruna. I did not understand what Bruna saw in me, especially as she was almost 2 years older than me. I would tell her this every now and then, and she would joke about it, saying, "Nothing. I don't see anything in you, which is what I like about you." And then she would hug me. But one day, she was sad and pensive, and said to me, "You and I are the same. Don't be fooled. You are reserved and honest, and I'm not. But that's the only difference between us. The only one." Then she began to cry. I was struck by the perception in her words, but only today, after re-examining my past, do I understand what she meant. I no longer considered my body as something disgusting and ill. Far from it. I began to look at myself, to caress myself, and smell my own skin. I began to explore and experiment, finding physical pleasure. My ideas were not very clear, and I never spoke to anyone about these things. Bruna, however, spoke about them. She boasted about her love stories and her young men. To my eyes, she was very lucky, always being wooed. By marvelous, generous, and kind boys. Thus, I fantasized about her adventures, pretending that I was the main protagonist. But how could I ever be like her? Occasionally I recall that she had black and blue marks on her body, but I was so naive that I did not understand. I did not put 2 and 2 together. It was Don Gino who explained things to me a few years later. He told me about Bruna's father and brother, but I was already very ill. The light had returned, and that thing made me suffer even more. It was my world, and it was crumbling. When I spoke to Bruna about it, she turned her head away and was silent for a long time. Prince Charming doesn't exist, Renee. At least not for us. I was 14 years old. I didn't think it was possible for a boy to look at me and desire me. When he asked me if I wanted to go for a walk, I didn't say anything. I didn't even have the courage to look at him. Things improved for a number of years, then suddenly everything came crashing down. One evening I came home drunk, and the following morning a terrible crisis overcame me all of a sudden. What had I done? I was terrified. I thought I'd lost my sight. The light burned my eyes from inside. The memories of the previous day emerged in bursts, images, flashes, which unleashed something monstrous inside me. Repetition of words was no longer sufficient. Now there was a voice in my head which repeated them louder than I did, and they were words of accusation and blame. So I covered my ears and shouted and hit my head against the wall and threw up. I remember the doctor, the wall filthy with blood and vomit. My mother wasn't looking at me. Bruna was crying but trying to hide it. Charlotte was beside me. I never told anyone what had happened. He came to visit me, but I refused to see him. I became agitated. I think he liked me, even though things turned out badly. In that period, I began to suffer from memory loss. The few things I learned didn't please me at all. He told me that I was looking for him. It was all my fault. Bruna told me that sometimes I got drunk. People in the village gossiped about me. Sometimes I was covered in black and blue marks. I didn't realize what was happening to me, what I was doing. I was no longer in control of my life. From my little corner. He felt accused, hurt. I chased him away. I insulted him. He was proud, handsome. He said things about me to other people, which he shouldn't have said. Mother caught me coming home drunk. She beat me and sent me to speak to Don Gino every day. He came back and tried to speak to me. I think he liked me. Sometimes I sent him packing and I started shouting at him, but other times I embraced him. I held him tight and loved him. But he couldn't bind himself to me. I was 16 and ill. I had no future. I didn't get out of bed for weeks. Then I did things I was ashamed of. I slept with men. The guilt tore at my soul, and the light came back to torture me. I invented stories to justify my actions. I couldn't bear my own weight. Mom found out about it. Her voice split my head. I pushed her away because I was afraid of dying, and I shouted to the whole world what was happening to me, and that I didn't understand. The police arrived, and they carted me away. I remember the onlookers shaking their heads. They would be better off without me, cleansed of shame, with something to talk about for a while.